Human trafficking is a serious problem. Thunder Bay is a hub in Ontario for this terrible thing. We talk with Clint Harris. It's James with Net News Ledger. Clint Harris is joining us. Clint, we're talking about human trafficking. What do our readers and viewers need to know?
Well, I guess, James, most importantly, this began by me watching a show on Netflix about human trafficking, and I posted something about how disturbing it was, and then people started to reach out to me, and from that, I talked to somebody from the youth justice system, a young lady who's familiar with dealing with the kids, and what I found out was a little disturbing. So I decided that, maybe I would at least share that information with the people that I knew on Facebook. And then, Danielle and Amanda from an organization, some counselors in the community, asked me to have a little bit of a discussion with them. And here I am now, explaining to people something that I've learned a lot about in a very short period of time, and how bad it is, the situation in Thunder Bay, the lack of resources and the lack of sort of, availability to counseling and funds that are needed to, continue to help this cause, which seems to be quite serious here.
Thunder Bay is one of the hotbeds in Ontario and probably Canada for human trafficking.
Actually, they say that it's, it's in the top 6 with regards to the hubs. And what's happening with regards to the current resources and the organizations that exist now in the city, obviously, from what I've seen from the surprise and the tone from the people who read my post and the lack of understanding of it, the message isn't getting out enough about what actually is going on. And I think I brought up about how people going on fishing trips from out of town, coming in and buying kids to take on the trips with them, things of that nature that are, pretty, disturbing to hear when you don't really know to that level. Now I'm sharing.
It's almost like there's a Thunder Bay there that we don't know. Like they talk about the dark web.
Yeah.
There's a dark Thunder Bay.
Yeah, and and in my discussion with Danielle and Amanda today, lack of resource for housing, and obviously we don't have a place for them to go. And there is obviously in other communities they do exist, and this is one of the things that doesn't exist in our community. And so they're creating, through some help of one of the local doctors, this board to raise some funds to at least get housing for those people who are trying to escape from, the human trafficking situation that they're currently in.
That's an exciting step forward then. And you've been a longtime Thunder Bay advocate for good causes.
Well, yeah, and going fishing sounded like a really nice idea, but it's very difficult to ignore something, at this level. And what I've learned in the last short period of time, they need a voice that will go out there and help them, spread the information. Today is basically what I found out human trafficking, Dave, something that I didn't even know existed. But apparently there's a gap somewhere in our system with regards to support, whether it be counseling, whether it be housing, an area that, obviously needs some advancement so that we can keep up to, the 10 that leave and the 30 that come to our community and create this environment in our city. So I'm not going to ignore it. I'm going to help these young ladies, to get started and, probably work fairly hard with them to, create this foundation that can raise some funds to at least get a place where they'll have a place that they can go, get some help, and, get away from whatever it is they're trying to get away from that seems to be taking, numerous children off our streets. And this increase of human trafficking from outside of our community needs to stop. And like I was saying in my post, people talk about, the wealth and the money and the power and, how, the fear and why people who work in this system currently, they're not exposing themselves because they're in fear for their families and their safety. So, you got to decide where you're going to step up. And, as much as I have to worry about the same sorts of things, as I said in the post today, I think I worry a little more about the kids in our community than I do about my safety. And that's just, who I am. And helping this city is, certainly been part of my past. And apparently it's going to be part of my future still again.
Clint, I think we'll have to keep this conversation going, and we'll have to be talking to the ladies and our doctor. We'll make this an issue that Thunder Bay starts to understand.
Well, I appreciate it, James, and you know, I'm glad I reached out to you. I knew I could count on you, and I know that Danielle and Amanda will be extremely pleased that, you know, some of this awareness is getting out there that obviously isn't out there now. So all I can do is say thank you.
Thank you. To keep up to date, you have to subscribe. You have to hit that like button and hit the notification to stay in touch.